I got to turn the mic on, duh. So 3 minutes into the video, me rambling on about whatever, and I didn't even have the mic on. But yeah, so woke up like 4 in the morning, watched a couple episodes of the Dresden Files, then got up and hung out with the wife a little bit, walked the dog, that sort of thing. Played some Valheim. I'm at a spot where it's getting to where it's about time for me to move my character, at least. Not move, but to start exploring the swamp, because I've pretty much been in the Black Forest for a while now, and I think I've done all the tech upgrades that you can. Like I've got all the brass weapons and all that. So, oh, okay. We got somebody up in here. It's Ison.
Look, you're in a forest alone, and out of the corner of your eye, you see him, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to think I would approach him and be like, "Hey, little buddy, do you need help with something? I mean, what's going on here? This seems weird." But
I don't know. Have you seen that song?
he's like,
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
"Wow, no."
No, well, it would have been funny if you knew that.
All right. So someone else just jumped in. Who we got here? We got a bear.
Ah,
Yeah.
What's all this being in the forest with Shia LaBeouf stuff?
I
It
don't
was a
know what
song.
he's talking about, but
there was a
It's
song on
creepy.
YouTube that somebody made about Shia LaBeouf.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool. I figured he would have self-exited by now.
no, he went the opposite route. He converted to like a very conservative branch of Roman Catholicism
Oh my.
and kind of just stopped talking.
Oh, hopefully
Well,
he chilled
that's a
out a
plus.
lot. Yeah,
which,
that is a
which
plus.
was a good idea for him, actually.
Yes. I
So
mean,
wait.
I liked him in the shows that I watched him in, but he went a little.
The only shows I remember him from at all, really, because I never really watched the Autobot bullshit, was
Yeah.
Holes.
That was a movie, but I
Yeah,
watched
he
him in
was
Even
good in Holes.
Stevens.
And it was a good story, you know what I
Yep.
mean? But other than that, I just don't.
I first saw him in Even Stevens, but yeah.
I remember he was in a Sia video.
I don't know what that is.
There's this person, she does music, her name's Sia,
Oh,
and she made a music video for one of her songs, and he was in it.
okay.
It was called, was it called Elastic Heart or something like that? And me being the, I don't know, eclectic person I am, I actually really like the song. Hello, historical doppelganger. What's new?
It's not really him.
Historical?
It's a doppelganger. Don't trust it. It
Well,
wants to
that's
replace
true.
you, James. It's a doppelganger. It's going to follow you around the dungeon.
Better
Actually,
a doppelganger than a dread gazebo.
If it's a doppelganger and it's doing its job right, then I'll never know.
That's fair.
I'll think he's a friend of mine. Meanwhile, that friend's buried in the swamp somewhere, like on Kroll.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Emerald Wizard.
Yeah, you know.
Again, I say better than the dread gazebo.
Okay, you have to
Yeah,
stop
gazebo.
with the internet meme life, man. It's not helping. It's hurting.
I
Sorry.
think that
I like that
Kinzer
story. It was
Company-
funny.
I think Kinzer and Company actually had stats for a gazebo in one of their games.
Yeah, I think it happened at Spawn because of a story that somebody
Hackmaster or
had.
whatever.
Because a person, I guess, mistook a gazebo for something else. Didn't know what a
They were
gazebo was.
making a joke about the fact that one of the players at the guy's table didn't know what a gazebo was. Well, none of them.
Yes.
So
like,
when he said there was a gazebo in the forest, they all assumed it was some kind of beast and decided to go ahead and attack the gazebo.
I just gotta say, how do you not know what a gazebo is, though?
Well, have you met this generation or the last one?
I mean,
Well, yeah, and
They're
well,
the dumbest generation for the one that has the most
generation.
knowledge at their fingertips, right?
fair, I guess.
Do they have gazebos in Minnesota? Because I think that's where Kinzer and Company is.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
they do.
I thought they
I'm
were
sure
pretty
they have
ubiquitous.
gazebos in Minnesota. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
not like, it's not like bidets or something.
They might call them something else, or maybe
Yeah, well,
they're
it is Minnesota. That's fair. They could call it a grass shack or something. Who knows?
right.
Yeah.
And but the point left was they were just trying to be silly because that's the whole point of Hackmaster.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
It was like, we're going to make a game that does all of the shit people don't like about AD&D, and we're really going to lean into that. And then we're going to make it silly as shit. And that's what they did. Technically, because of what happened, they were one of the first companies to be able to make a old school clone.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
Well, it's because Wizards of the Coast kept using their comic book in Dragon Magazine without their permission. So the settlement at the lawsuit was that Kinzer and Company could make an AD&D clone, like what was in their comic book. And they did. And I own the basic set, but the original Hackmaster, it was like a whole library of books, like their monster books. There was like 12 of them, it was nuts. But the whole thing is they made even Hackmaster Basic, they went out of their way to make that shit as complicated as possible. And like every rule, you can tell they designed every rule to be like as silly as possible. Like one of the rules in the book is if you take your dice and you put the highest face down on the top of the book where the signature is, and you rub it back and forth so many times, then for the rest of the game, your dice are guaranteed to do well. But yeah, it was just nuts. It was a spoof game, but there are people out there who seriously play Hackmaster, like unironically, they play Hackmaster. And then a while back, I bought their Western game, and I was like, nope. I read it, and I was like, no way. Because it was the most complicated, convoluted bullshit you ever saw.
I've only heard of one, and I can't remember its name now, of the Western variety. Well, maybe a couple, but...
Well, for TSR, it was Boot Hill.
Oh, that was it, Boot Hill.
And the first Boot Hill was basically a combat system and a character generation system and nothing else.
Yep.
And the character generation system was just rolling what your attributes were so you could figure out how you'd be in combat. Any role-playing that happened to happen during a first edition Boot Hill game was purely like up to the DM and the players to figure out, because I mean, the rule book was like 20 pages long. I've got one, and 10 of those pages were about shootouts at the OK Corral type shit, Third edition Boot Hill is an actual legitimate role-playing game. But like all Boot Hill, it suffers from one thing that a lot of players don't like, and that is if you decide to get in a gunfight and someone rolls pretty good and shoots you in the head, that's pretty much going to be the end of your character.
Well, of course.
Right, right. And believe it or not, one of the reasons D&D is so popular is because once you hit a certain level in D&D, there's a certain level of, like, I guess, safety. Like when you're 5th level, you know that you're going to survive most things unless you actively go out of your way to be a real dumbass. You know, like the saying, as long as I've got 1 hit point, I'm ready to fight. You know what I mean? Or the fact that you could have somebody in your party with the raise dead spell or whatever, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that on a RuneQuest game.
Right. But in Boot Hill, you have the doctor who might also be the barber and also an alcoholic. And if you catch a Colt 45 round to your lung, guess what? You're going to die. I mean, it's just like, you know, and players don't like that. Well, some do, but the vast majority are not a huge fan of. That's why the first thing Wizard Coast did when they took over the fantasy game is get rid of save or die.
Yep.
Because so many D&D players absolutely, well, not so many, just the whiny minority hated the idea of save and die or level loss.
Back in my day, we rolled around in the dirt and hit each other with sticks and called it role-playing, and we liked it that way. Kids today with their dice.
Well, we didn't call it role-playing, but we did do that, Bear.
Yeah, I know. We did that too. I'm Gen X.
Yeah, Hungar, I'll tell you. We used to make swords out of sticks and
Me and Jamie did that too.
run around and beat the shit out of each other. I mean, it was pretty, you know, we could have been
adventurous. It made us unafraid of taking a beating.
Well, you know, yeah, it's like whatever. When we played football, because there were so many people I hung out with back then. I mean, we had like teams, even though it was all like friends and acquaintances and neighborhood kids. I mean, we would have like 11 players on the field.
I only played football once in my life.
He did the voice role for a Studio Ghibli movie, Nausicaa. I saw Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Who are we talking about?
I'm guessing that was Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, did he? Because
I'm guessing, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
Shaq.
pretty interesting. It was like there were the gigantic bugs and they emitted some weird poisonous gas and all the humans had to live away from the bug, you know, but they would go into the forest where the bugs lived to like, if they could find like a dead gigantic bug, they would get like chitin and bring it back because, you know, it was a useful building material. And then, you know, you had people flying around on like,
Yep, Shia LaBeouf, he was in it.
who was he?
Asbel?
Huh.
Who's Asbel?
The other day, I was trying to fall asleep, so I put now I would rank it second favorite anime on, and instead of going to sleep, I just sat there and watched it.
Man, I should have done that the other day.
My second favorite anime now is probably maybe Frieren.
That's pretty high up there for me too.
At
I think
Journey's
second or
End.
third.
And what's your favorite?
Berserk. Both of them.
Yeah, I like all the Berserk animes. I don't know why people are so shitty about them. It's like they're all entertaining. They're all good.
Well, I mean, it's like Egg of the King is really the definitive Berserk, but the Black Swordsman arc is still good.
Those
You
two
know, it's not
seasons
like-
they did were good. They were enjoyable. The 90s one is good. It's enjoyable. But like fucking like I swear to God, anime fans are like fucking metalheads. You know what I mean? They love to shit on anything. The classics is all that matters, man, is old school. It's just like, oh fuck, shut up.
So you're
You're
saying
why we can't have nice things.
Anime fans are like RPG fans.
Well, I was trying to be nice, but okay, yeah, no, they're
semi-fandoms,
exactly like
really.
RPG fans. Why? This is why we can't have nice things, because people fucking bitch and moan and complain. And then they make shit like fucking War of the Rohirrim, and we're like, why did they make this? Well, because they can't make anything else, because everybody's going to shit all over it. So they go, well, what's least going to cause a problem, or what's going to tap into a market that we can get to? And whenever nerds sit around and go, why don't they just make it for us? Because you complain about it constantly. So they said, fuck you, and they're looking for other audiences now because you can't be fucking pleased unless you get the same goddamn thing over and over and over again.
Oh, sounds like
I'm ranty. I'll shut up.
Fans.
Hey, what?
So it sounds like somebody's talking about Star Wars fans.
Star Wars fans, superhero
Look, it's
fans,
every fan.
Star Trek fans.
Every
all of us.
fandom's like it. It's all fandoms.
Maybe all fandoms are like that, Leth. Maybe you got a point. And you know, maybe the reason people bitch about things, those that do, maybe some of them are just like Bear said, they're just assholes. But maybe some of them, they're just so passionate about the thing they love that, I mean, maybe it does make it hard to please them because, you know, they're looking at, I mean, nostalgia will F you up right off the bat. Like,
If
there's
you let
been
it.
so many times where I've been like, oh man, I remember having so much fun doing whatever, playing this game, whatever, when I was young. He's the young pilot that helps her. Nice. And then you play it when you're older and you're just like, you can never go home. You know what I mean?
Not for me. I always like going back to a good old game that I liked playing.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just my experience. But I don't bitch about games. I bitch about game companies. And like I said, I have managed to destroy my envy. So yeah, I don't, you know, like I've said it a billion times. What's her name? Made $1 million doing her thing. Well, grats to her. It don't affect me if she makes a bunch of money.
God bless her for doing it.
Right. It's not like this girl broke into my house and I had a big vault of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck and she, you know, robbed me or something. I mean, her getting famous and making millions of dollars did not put nor did it extract a single scrap of gold or silver from my pocket.
Well, the thing is for me is
So
like,
why would I be pissed off at her success?
Well, exactly. Like I don't care for Shadow Dark. It's not a game I really enjoy. I've read it. It doesn't speak to me in any way, shape, or form.
Well,
but God bless it for existing. What?
You're kind of over D&D though.
Yeah, I'm actually getting back into D&D as of right now. I'm kind of sliding back in. And I'm finding that, you know, a lot of these things just aren't my taste. Shadow Dark, Adventurer Conqueror King. You know, I don't need them. I've got BX. I've got 5e. I've got all the D&D I could fucking want at my fingertips. You know what I mean? I don't need them, but I don't begrudge them for existing or wish death upon their creators.
No. So, Bear, what do you think about Perkins leaving?
Yeah. You left. There's still one piece of trash that's got to go.
Right, but
I think Perkins is a corporate man.
Wanted to, or do you think he left because he was invited to?
No, I think he left because he got an offer somewhere. We're going to see him pop up somewhere with a better job, you know, some video game company or something like that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think Perkins, unlike, say, Mike Merles, was a corporate yes man. So whatever the corporation was shilling, he was happy to stand there with a smile on his face and tell you it's the best thing since sliced fucking bread. You know what I mean? Yeah. And guys like that, I have no respect for.
Yeah, I remember the video he did with the one heavy hottie where they're talking about how Space Jammer or whatever was like the greatest thing ever. Spelljammer. And everybody was just like, that game didn't even come with a combat system.
Yeah.
It's like, what is he talking about? It's horrible, but he was selling it, boy. He was selling. But you know what? You are right. I could totally see him walking into like Bethesda or something as a writer or a, producer or something on some upcoming video game.
Oh yeah. He'll land on his feet just fine.
Everybody says Shadow Dark's no good for a long game, but I don't see how. I mean, what is it doing so different than like Basic Expert, Moldvay and Cook, that makes it where you couldn't run it for a long game? Because you can run Moldvay Cook for pretty much ever if you really wanted to. So I mean, I know when 5e came out with just the core books, so the 3 starter books, we played 5e D&D for a year and a half before I finally got sick of it. It took a while. It basically, once my player characters were all like level 14 or 15, I was like, yeah, I don't think I like this game. Because there's no
challenge.
Well, it's not that, because challenge is up to the DM.
Oh, true.
Now, I will agree that 5e doesn't make it easy, and you really got to watch that you don't overcompensate and then create an encounter the players literally just can't survive.
Not Draco is 100% correct with his statement about Shadow Dark, by the way.
It's the current darling game. What you're seeing is how hype impacts.
Yep. I have lived through enough. I've lived through enough internet darlings in the RPG world now. I've lived through the Savage World internet darling ship. I've lived through the fucking OSE internet Fate. I've Powered by the Apocalypse. I've seen them all come and go, baby. I've seen them all come and go.
Well, I mean, OSC hasn't gone anywhere.
Well, it's not the monster it once was, though. I mean, Shadow Dark has claimed its throne. It was the one before Shadow Dark.
But as long as there's someone out there wanting to play Moldvay Cook, but with like some AD&D type rules, then OSC Advanced is always going to be a thing. Or if you just want to play a game that's really, really, really well edited and organized.
Have you ever seen Myth and Magic, James?
I have not.
So Myth and Magic was a 2E Neo clone, right? Like basically it was 2E, but with some 3D20 innovations thrown into it. And despite the bullshit of the guy who kickstarted it and all the money he ran away with and all the lies he told and all that bullshit, it's still a good game at the core. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking for that 2E D20 type feeling to a game, it's fucking tits on toast.
Tits on toast?
Yeah, it's an expression I heard once years ago from a guy on a film set. That's tits on toast. And I was like, what the fuck? Is that good? Like, why would you?
What does that even mean?
Why are you putting tits on toast, man? But it stuck with me.
Well, I mean, back in the late 80s, if something was good, people would say that shit's tits, man.
Yeah. Well, I guess tits on toast means it's extra.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that goes on toast is peanut butter or beans.
Butter. Just plain old toast with butter and a cup of coffee. I'm a happy man.
Yeah, it's a good start, of the day.
Or if you just want to make a good sandwich, you could toast some bread and put some bacon and eggs on it.
What is this bread that you are all eating? I don't understand. I'm diabetic. It is no longer a part of my diet, much like potato.
Well, I don't eat potatoes, but my wife buys me special diabetic bread.
Yeah, is it any good though?
Yeah, I like it if you toast it and then put like eggs on it. It's fine,
Yeah, see, I told you, eggs make things better.
Yeah, you guys have way better choices for diabetic food in the States than we do in Canada.
Yeah, like she keeps a container of tortillas. We have 0 carb tortillas.
Yeah,
They
You know how hard
actually
those are to
do
find
have
here?
some carbs, but there's some thing where they take like the total amount of grams and whatever, and they do.
Yeah, it's called the net carbs, and it's really bad for diabetics because some stuff is like just high glycemic index regardless for us.
Right.
So you really got to be careful with that stuff.
Right.
But they say whole grain is really okay for us because the way it digests slow, it doesn't spike our glycemic index. And corn is a whole grain. So if you can get corn tortillas, you're pretty safe. You know, don't overdo it. But, you know, unlike the wheat tortillas, which will spike you really, really hard. No, God, no. No, dude. Bruce, to get stuff that is like gluten-free and low carb, you have to go to specialty stores and pay out your asshole for them in this fucking country. Well, at least in this province. I don't know, maybe in Ontario they got more choices, but here in Quebec, fuck no. My friend is a gluten-free, like she's a celiac. So for her birthday, we had to go find a gluten-free cake. Jesus Christ, we paid through the fucking nose for a cake the size of like, you know, a fucking the side plate. You know what I mean? It wasn't even a big cake. We paid like $50.
Oof.
Well, you're in Montreal, and they probably figure if you can't eat a baguette, you deserve to die.
No, poutine. If you can't eat poutine, you deserve to die. If you can't have fries, cheese, and gravy, fuck you, die.
Yeah, poutine. I was just saying, you know how French love their baguettes. But yeah, so what happened yesterday, though, I already said this, but apparently my volume was off, is I stayed up all day from the day before. So I was up for like 26 hours. And then I fell asleep early, and I woke up at like 4:30 this morning.
I keep trying to tell you, they're not French here. They're Quebecois.
Yeah.
The French even don't see them as French.
Yeah, just like you're Canadian, not British.
Exactly.
I got it. Yeah, same deal, basically, right? And we're, as Americans, even though very many of us are descended from the Isles, we would never like to be called that, I guess.
Except for Irish and Scottish. Everybody everywhere in the world who is of Irish or Scottish descent will tell you they're Irish or Scottish before they'll tell you what nation they live in. It's
yeah, so I don't know what's up with that. I do know, and I'm not saying I support it or not, but I do know that President Trump declared one of the months as officially Irish Appreciation Month. So you know how you got like, we had Black History's February?
Yeah.
Well, March is Irish History Month.
Well, it makes sense. That's when St. Patrick's Day is, even though no one understands that that's a Catholic holiday, not an Irish holiday.
And that St. Patrick himself was not from Ireland.
Nope. And was the guy who, there were no snakes in Ireland either. There have never been snakes in Ireland. The whole idea of driving the snakes out of Ireland was the destruction of the Druidic culture. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, he was from like Wales or something.
Who cares?
Burn slut. So no DEI. I don't know what that's in context for. I mean,
you mentioned Trump, therefore, you know, out of the woodwork it comes.
Somebody decided to have him make it a Potato History Month. Yeah, right.
Diddly-dee, potatoes. So I heard a conspiracy theory the other day that left me confused and wanting to understand, because one of the things I'm hating right now is all of my social media feeds are full of these anti-Trump people going, economists say, economists say, economists say. And like we were talking, I think yesterday, you know, the definition of an economist is someone who can tell you tomorrow why what he predicted was going to happen yesterday, 3 days ago, didn't happen, right? Like that's the fucking what an economist is.
Right.
And I saw this guy, he had a real fucking interesting post where he was, it was someone else who copied it over, and he was explaining how you guys don't understand what Trump's doing. Trump is trying to reset the global fucking economy. And the first thing he has to do is break the back of the billionaires, the oligarchs, and all this kind of shit. And, you know, crash the stock market so everything can get down to a reasonable rate again. And we can stop living at this level. And I'm like, I don't know if that's accurate or just someone's wishful thinking. But if that is what he's doing, I want to see this shit play out, man.
I don't know what exactly is what, I do know I wish I had a shit ton of money, because apparently
invest like a motherfucker right now.
Some dude invested like 1 point something million dollars into some stock and made 30 million in a day.
Jesus.
Because of how it is. Irish month DEI, that is an intellectually dishonest question that you're trying to get me, because if I say no, then you're going to argue, then neither is this. And if I say yes, then it's like, come on, dude, that's dumb. The rich country wants to reset it so they're not rich. No, the rich country. Where do you live? The Central Congo Republic or something? What do you know about rich countries? I mean, unless you live in Central Africa, you probably live in a rich country comparatively. I mean, that's the problem with all of Western civilization. We whine about the 1%. We are the 1%. You know, compared to like, you know, most of Africa and lots of Asia and South America. That, I mean, we are the 1%. We are the ones with flush toilets and the ability, well, like Bear said, the ability to get gluten-free bread, you know, if you want. So it's all perspective. It's kind of like when people talk about white supremacy or whatever. It's like, honestly, white people are the minority. When you figure up the population of Asia, Europeans are like drastically the minority, you know, but people, we all have our own myopic view of life, I guess. But I like this Vallejo black shade. It shades good, and then it has a very, when it completely dries, it dries very matte. So yeah. But yeah, apparently a lot of normal everyday, like let's say I had $1,000 laying around. If I'd been smart 4 days ago, I'd just invested it, and today I'd have 30,000 if I invested in whatever the other guy did. You know what I mean? But I don't, you know, have any money just laying around for all that. But apparently, a lot of people made a lot of money, like normal people, not, you know. So, and then you got that pencil neck shift trying to be like, Trump sent out an email saying now is the time to buy, and we're going to investigate to see if that's insider trading. And it's like, did you really just say that with a straight face? I mean, insider trading, really? Huh. The rich the rich are always going to get richer because they're smart. I mean, a lot of people who play the stock market, I'll admit, I look at the stock markets and shit, I have no idea what's going on. It might as well be voodoo to me. I mean, I'm like, but my maybe soon to be brother-in-law, he researches that shit. You know, it's like he's got a job in IT, but he also day trades, which means he's constantly reading, you know, all these articles and everything about what's doing what, where, and when. And he does very well with his day trading because, you know, he researches shit and he makes, I guess you would call it educated guesses. And a lot of times his educated guesses turn out to be good educated guesses, you know. But me, I don't know if I got the patience for it, you know. It's like
a full-time job practically.
It is. That's what I'm saying. You think rich means smart. I think that if everybody starts with a basic level of resources, and then certain people, you know, turn that basic level of resources into billions, then yeah, they're probably smarter than the ones that are on welfare, I would say. In general. Yeah. I mean, you know. Yeah.
Not many people who are dumb and keep their wealth if they start off with it.
Yeah. You see that all the time. Dumb people who start their life with like a shit ton of money end up homeless. It happens to movie stars. It happens to professional athletes. It happens to, and it's not even that they're dumb. It's just that, well, maybe it is that they're dumb because they get all this millions upon millions of dollars. And instead of living a decent, moderate lifestyle with a moderate house and a moderate car, they go buck wild and buy like 5 Bentleys and a mansion. And then when whatever it is they do to make all that money dries up, as it will eventually do, they have so much debt that they're screwed, And yeah, that's just a matter of people making bad decisions, Plus, I mean, some people recognize, like I said, the one guy recognized what was going on, and now he's millions richer. I didn't recognize it because I was too busy painting orcs, and I'm no richer. But I'm also no poorer. Well, no, technically I am a little bit richer because according to bonds and etc., the value of the US dollar actually went up. So I guess I'm a little richer.
My favorite thing these days is all of the old Democratic talking points about immigration and exposing corruption with these idiots didn't realize is forever put on fucking video. They are showing up all over the internet now, like Obama, Hillary, all these people. It's like, you're the same assholes telling Elon and Trump are wrong for doing what you said you wanted to have done 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Like these people are insane.
Well, because here's the problem is, in my opinion, okay, the First Amendment is awesome, but you have to remember that, hey, how you doing, Nerdy Ogre? The First Amendment also means that people who are basically mentally retarded still get to have an opinion too. And so they're all like, they hate Trump, even though Trump, all he's doing is shit Obama and Biden and even Clinton, if you go far enough back.
Yep.
Are on film saying they wanted to do. Classic straw man. Yeah, I don't know even what you're talking about. But basically, yeah. And that's why sometimes I joke to my wife. I was like, I'm like, how does it feel, living under an actual Democrat government, She's like, yeah, you hear. She's like, no. But I'm like, but they all were Democrats 20 or 30 years ago, or in some cases 5, and now they're claiming to be whatever. But the only thing Trump is doing is what every president since Clinton has been swearing they wanted to do, and for some reason didn't do. Except unlike Trump, all the presidents that came before him didn't have random local judges putting, 1 million injunctions on him every time he, went to the bathroom or whatever. So basically, I guess they said they were going to do it and they just decided not to. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. Who knows? I mean, you can judge their actions. You can't judge their motivations, though. I mean, because we don't know what their motivations were. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, if you watch YouTube politics at all, which unfortunately sometimes it happens to me, you see so many videos of like Clinton and Al Gore talking about deporting everyone. See, only Trump's dumbass. See, so what you're looking at is Burns Lots is just an idiot that doesn't like Trump, probably because the mainstream media told him not to like Trump. But in all honesty, he has probably no idea why he dislikes Trump. You know,
or the reasons he dislikes Trump are unfounded and unprovable.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's like every time I talk to
Trump's a racist, right?
Of course not.
Trump's a fascist, right?
Of course not.
Right, exactly. These are
the mainstream media loves Trump. Look at
what fucking mainstream media are you watching? Fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've identified the troll in the conversation.
And them guys all love Trump. They love him to death. Well, they love him because every time when he's in office, they actually have viewers like you.
Yeah.
Watching
I think Rachel Maddow's on record as saying she'd like to give Trump a blowjob, and she's a lesbian. So, that's how much she loves him, clearly. Hey, Nerdy, what's up, man?
Here's the answer to your question. Here's the answer.
To whose question? Okay.
I think we lost Nerdy Ogre.
I don't know what he did. He started, and then he just kind of...
Nerdy?
Here's the answer. Here's the answer.
Are you having a stroke?
I think so.
Do you smell toast?
Can you stick your tongue out?
No, but I'm hearing voices.
Well, that's not a stroke. That's something entirely different.
That's just the internet.
Anyway, no. You said you didn't know why the past politicians haven't solved it, because more money can be made by promising to fix it and creating this department, that department, funneling money to these departments that are to fix the problem, but don't actually fix the problem. And basically a giant money. The U.S. government has become a giant money laundering scheme.
Let me ask you a question. How much money was Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton worth before they became president?
Not near as much as what they were after they became president.
How about Obama?
Same thing.
Biden?
Same thing.
Trump?
Less.
He was already rich before he became president.
He's actually lost money.
Yeah, he's actually lost money.
Because he only gets paid like $1 every pay period, and he has to legally keep that $1. And then he donates the rest of his presidential pay to a multitude of different charities. He's donated to help out gay people. He's donated mental health. He's donated for veterans. Like, he's pretty open-minded about what he donates to help. You know what I mean? Which is why it's so funny when certain leftists go in there like, Trump hates gay people. And it's like, he's the first president that was ever elected that was not against gay marriage when he was elected. Because Obama was 100% against it when he got elected. And then later he swapped over. You're seeing when a new age religion... Well, Trump is not the new age antichrist. Let's see his taxes. He's already showed his taxes. How many times does he guys show his taxes? And why aren't you asking to look at Alicia Cortez's taxes? Because that woman's got a net worth of almost $20 million, and no one knows how. Right? Have you asked to see the Pelosi's taxes? No, of course not. Because, again, you are a dumbass on Twitch. With all of the lawfare he has to have lost. Yeah. He's the only president to ever come out of being president with less net wealth than he went in. It's actually kind of stupid. I mean, either he's just really power hungry, which I don't think, because as a billionaire, he's already got power, or he's sincere about wanting to help things. Because I mean, at his age, he could be hanging out at Mar-a-Lago playing golf and drinking samosas and eating BLTs. Oh, did you make me an egg? Nice, thank you.
I made you an egg because I started eating sandwich earlier.
Okay, thank you. So stop straw manning me, Jesus Christ.
Just type "re" and be over with it. There, Burns.
Yeah, just scream "re," call me a fascist, and move on. I mean, nobody straw manned you. I don't know if you. I do not think you know what that means. What you think it means.
I do not think that word means what I think you think it means.
The people from that word.
Oh. Where is he on my desk? Because I gotta put a shade on him, but I downloaded and printed up myself because I'm that kind of nerd, a Ryan Gosling as a Nexus 9.
Oh, nice.
From Blade Runner 2040, whatever, 7, I think. Yeah, I found a guy who does like all of the Blade Runner STL. So I've got a Deckard. The Deckard I have, his hands broke, so he's holding the pistol in his left hand, and his right hand's got a bandage around it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what game I would ever use this guy in, but maybe Traveler. If I were playing in a Traveler game, I could make a character that's an agent. You know, the agent background. And
Traveler, Cyberpunk.
Hell, in Traveler 2300, he could be a replicant even. Since that is a thing, you know.
Wow, copy-paste is fun for everybody.
Yeah, he's working on getting banned.
Clearly.
I know I'm wearing the hat, and the hat is causing you to go into a unmitigated rage because of your Trump derangement syndrome. But let's ignore the hat for a little while and concentrate on what we're talking about, which is role-playing games and miniatures. If I wanted to argue politics with idiots, I'd be on X right now. Which I only go on X like once every 2 weeks because I check up the messages, I answer gamer related messages, and then I basically ignore the rest of it.
We're talking about
now it doesn't matter what I was talking about. I'm telling you, this is what we're talking about. I don't care. You dropped into the freaking thing with your stupid wanting to catch somebody in something because Trump made an Irish month, which I'm indifferent to any of the months. Bye free speech. You're not owed free speech on my channel. I don't know why people think that. Like if you go on anybody's channel, they don't owe you anything. They block your ass in 2 seconds. I mean, that's what the government owes. And depending on where you live, and you sound like probably an upper middle class idiot American. Yeah. I don't know if you know how free speech works. You know, it's like you can't come into my house and just expect to run your mouth and me have to be forced to tolerate whatever you said, you know? I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, sure, you can say whatever you want, but then there's consequences. Says the upper middle class. I'm actually lower class and a retired firefighter. And firefighters in America do not make very much money at all, under $30K a year.
So to play along with your straw man definition, please look up the definition of ad hominem, and that's what you're doing now.
Yeah, he's
attacking the person as opposed to the arguments.
But I am an American. I live in beautiful Florida, even though I'm originally from Kentucky, and I hope to move back one day. So to put us on an even basis, would you be kind enough to say where you're from? If I'm wrong about, being a, a middle class suburbanite, commie or whatever. If I'm wrong about that, and I could be. And if you're not American, I think you might want to be worried about what's going on in your country, wherever it is, because we all got our problems, That said, putting a wash on these, finally finished the basic painting of these bullywugs. Now, of course, I'm going to have to do their base like muddy or swampy.
Frog people?
Bullywugs for some reason were like super important with
Oh my God, I can't believe this guy can't fucking get his head out of his ass long enough to realize there's a difference between attacking the argument and attacking the person. You're a fucking idiot with an internet connection that is teaching you nothing. You prove that you are a leftist through your arguing status. Fuck you.
You're being yelled at by a Canadian, bro. That is sad. I mean, when you start getting the Canadians riled up, you messed up. It's like, because you're talking to one of the nicest, most understanding people on the internet. Not me. I'm a Christian nationalist. But Bear is a very kind, wise gentleman. And if you're getting him agitated, it's like, bro, come on. Calm down, man.
That guy needs a good hockey shirt and some uppercuts. That'll sort him right the fuck out.
Right? Well, yeah, you get that in Boston, though.
You definitely don't want to anger a Canadian, because if you do, they'll invent a few more war crimes.
Guys, listen, this is either a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old.
He's young, probably.
Whatever he is, he doesn't get to talk to women without giving a credit card number first, so we can just ignore him and move on with our day.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, other than the standard rambling, which is just normal for me, is ROSE game's going pretty well. They'll probably poor Bear's feelings. You didn't hurt anyone's feelings. Literally, he's calling you an idiot because you don't seem to understand basic etiquette and how to have a conversation. And you're also screwing up, like, all of the fallacies that you think you understand, you don't. And I was just pointing out how he's one of the most tolerant people I know. And if you're getting on his nerves, you should probably rethink your life.
Fuck him. Who gives a shit, dude? The guy's going to die alone. That's fine. I don't need revenge. God's done a good enough job on him already.
Bear thinks I have to pay for women. Look at all you. He sounds like Jabba the Hutt. Actually, I think Bear's a relatively.
I sound like Jabba the Hutt. Nice.
And he's going to say projection again.
Of course.
I've been married, dude, 3 times, but the last one stuck, and it's been over 20 years. You've yet to tell us where you're from.
Yeah, he's just hiding between the bands. He's a leftist idiot. Let him alone.
Well, if he doesn't like projection, he can just stop it.
There's a crazy idea, right?
Yeah, you can stop, but I love bullywugs. I know that because you play Palladium, I don't know if they have, evil frog people, but
I don't think they do.
In the oldest of old school D&D and like in all the cartoons, bullywugs were like a thing. There's like a whole module that's just loaded full of bullywugs. I think it's Temple of the Frog God or something like that. But pretty much they're like orcs, but
Hungar's in the back room.
I see him. They're like orcs, but amphibian, I guess. But I like them because I like the idea that they could hide in the swamp, and if you're traveling at night, because of the fact that they're cold-blooded, you wouldn't see them if they were low into the swamp water, because their body temperature would be the same. The swamp water,
Haven't I told you to stay away from the Twitch tards?
I don't know why you stream this on Twitch to begin with, but that's me.
Here's the weird thing. It's always like every time someone comes on and starts acting like an idiot, the guy's always a Twitch guy.
Always Twitch.
You encounter Pepe. Right. So, and then of course in all of the D&D cartoons, which I own because my wife bought them all for me on Blu-ray or DVD, whatever it is. Bullywugs are a reoccurring thing that the kids are constantly fighting with or running from. So I guess Gary Gygax was just a fan of them.
Because they're cool.
And I have to admit to being a little bit frightened of frogs anyway.
Those and Sturgis together just pissed me off.
Well, there was the one game where
It's like bounce.
Bears back. There was the one cartoon where like the mage summoned a bunch of flies, so the Bullywugs stopped fighting with the party and just started trying to eat all the flies.
I remember.
Did you ban him finally?
Did I what?
Did you ban that idiot finally?
Yeah. He's got it. Because, I'll give anyone a fair chance for a while, but he was just not making any sense at all.
Oh, yeah, he's going to go tell all his friends how he totally owned this MAGA guy on YouTube. Whatever, man.
Yeah, maybe
that's all he has left. It's just to be able to get on and argue with somebody.
Well,
maybe his girlfriend's boyfriend to let him watch one time.
Oh. You know that he was probably young because he kept saying things like projection and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and he wasn't even using it correctly. So he was probably just some young kid that likes to go on Twitch because, I don't know, go out and play, right? Slan Mage Priest Pepe. Oh, Slan are horrible. There is some South American mythology wherein humans are enslaved by these frog people, and the frog people ride them around and stuff like they're horses. I remember reading about it when I was a kid, but I don't know if it's man or
call them Quebecers.
Huh?
I keep telling you, we call them Quebecers, not frog people.
Oh, Quebecois.
Yeah, we saved the frog people for France.
This is the closest.
How is that?
This that's the closest.
Yeah, it looks like a deep one.
Is that in Riffs?
Riffs conversion book. I think it's it may be a Palladium fantasy.
Man. You're like that one dude. Like get there with all your friends.
Yeah,
and like, hey, man, let's put some music on. And you're like, cool. What do you want to hear? And everybody's like, put on Nickelback. And there's always that one person that's like, no, I want to hear Taylor Swift.
Wow. That entire room of people needs to have their eardrums punctured.
Oh, you know you love Nickelback.
I fucking hate Nickelback. Please, I have never liked Nickelback. And it's not because I was on the Nickelback hate wagon. It's because I heard them and went, this is shit. Why are we all listening to it?
But they're like your country's number one band.
So sorry. I was thinking of a different story. Hey, I got bad news for you, man. The fucking grunge movement's over, and you're not the lead singer from Pearl Jam. Fuck off.
For handing you a heart worth breaking. I've been down to the bottom.
You know what's crazy? The lead singer of Nickelback, believe it or not, every year is in a nativity play.
Is what? In a nativity play?
Yeah, he joins the church's nativity play every year. But he quit doing it last year because he never made it as a wise man.
Wow, we just got dad joked.
Yeah,
How do you
That
take
was
yourself
like the
seriously when you're-
ultimate dad.
that shit just
How do you
happened.
take yourself seriously when your fucking family name is an American grocery store? Come on, Chad. Bruce is here. Uh-oh.
Don't look at the box of any of the Little Debbie snack
I'm
cakes
a bona fide deep Swifty. Yeah, baby.
because they all say McKee Corporation.
There you go. Not your echo. I wouldn't fuck Taylor Swift with your dick. Okay? Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't understand
Not even
why
with a
people
stolen
think
dick.
she's attractive.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
I'm telling you, Taylor Swift is just Napoleon Dynamite and drag.
What are you yelling at me, Hunger?
So I heard.
I said Taylor Swift Dynamite and drag.
Oh, I saw that meme, and it looks like it could be true.
So I heard a rumor.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how true this is, but I heard in New York they made it illegal to cut the head off of a squirrel because of what happened to Peanut.
Well,
Citation needed.
those good old boys up in the mountains are going to have issues then.
That's not in the mountains. That's in New York. New York only has hills in it.
Oh, the Adirondack Mountains.
No, man, if you go upstate, that
Yeah.
shit is old school hillbilly as any part of Appalachia.
Oh, fuck yeah. Up the Hudson Valley, you got mountains up there. The Adirondack Trail, man. It's part of the Appalachians.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Fucking Texans / Middle Americans have no clue what goes on the East Coast.
you know what? Overall, unless you actively go out of your way to learn geography, you never learn it in like school. Shadow, what is up, homie?
Guys, I love you, but I've been in the Rockies and I've been in Appalachia. Appalachia feels like you're driving through hills. I know.
Okay.
Okay. And you know what? There's a whole bunch of fucking people from Nepal looking at the Rockies going, those are very cute. What do you
I
call
know,
them?
right?
Like Sherpas that would just jog right up the side of
That's-
one of those mountains.
They'd
not
be
even
climbing
Yeah,
the fucking Mount Logan and like doing calisthenics on top of it without fucking protective
Yeah, I'm
gear.
sure the people in Tibet are like, oh, look at the little hills.
That's so cute.
Anyway, Bruce, I do not disagree with you. Everything is relative. I mean, we found the Appalachian Mountains, but I've seen the Rockies because I've been to California, and they're totally like 5 times bigger and jagged, and they look like you would die.
And
Yeah.
younger, therefore there's far less history attached to them, unlike the Appalachians, which is where the old ones live.
Right, because
Believe
the,
too.
the Appalachian Mountains are like the oldest mountain range on Earth, whereas the mountains in Tibet and the Rocky Mountains are relatively young. Relatively, but you're 100% right. I mean, the highest peak in Kentucky is 5,000 feet above sea level.
Better than Illinois.
That's nothing. That's nothing when you think about, you know, those mountains overseas that people go to die. What am I thinking of? Everest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everest.
Yeah. When you're climbing a mountain that's so freaking tall that you got to bring your own oxygen, you know that's a tall ass mountain. You know what I'm saying? I mean, pretty freaking tall right there. Supposedly, there's a mountain over there in that area that no one to this day has ever successfully climbed. And pretty much everyone who tried has died. So, of course, I was watching like Weird Places and Monsters when I saw that. So, actually, I blame Bear because I was looking up the Valley of Headless People and it led me down this whole rabbit hole.
Valley of Headless Men.
Yep. And it led me down this whole weird rabbit hole of which I just stuck as, man, wouldn't that be cool to put in a D&D game? You just got to figure out what is doing the thing.
Decapus.
Decapus.
Wendigo.
Wendigos are absolutely an option.
Turns out it's just a guy in a rubber mask.
I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those meddling kids. And
Yeah,
their
we're talking
tabaxi.
D&D. Like if we were playing Call of Cthulhu and for some reason the investigators are like, hey, let's go to the Valley of Headless Men, it would definitely be a Wendigo. Or Ithaquah, the Lord of the Wendigo. That would be the thing. That's what it would have to be.
Hey, Cody.
Off grid.
Cody.
Hey, Cody.
Off-grid gaming. He's gaming off-grid up in Canada.
Oh, nice. Why are they saying Saturday?
I would not want to be on the internet in Canada either. I love you, Bear, but you are a brave man.
Why?
Because I always fear that Canada's going to go be like the UK, where they start like arresting you for memes and shit.
Oh, well, here's what I don't do. Wave my dick around on the internet.
Off-grid's the one who laughed when I called that chick on X a lying whore.
Elon?
No, some internet thought.
Oh, because she said she's going to take the picture down, but she didn't.
Yeah.
So you're like, you're
And
lying.
And she was dressed like a whore. So
Chilling
she
like-
lied.
Well, I've
And
got
she's a
all
whore.
Okay, we've established. So I've got half of my orcs shaded. So the shade has to dry overnight. And then I'll do some dry brushing on them and they'll be done. And now I'll have to start working on the other 15 over here.
I hope you feel better, man.
Oh, your days are mixed up? Yeah. It happens to me too all the time.
It happens.
Luckily, I've got this little box I keep in the kitchen that has like the days of the month or days of the week on it. And like that way, when I get up, I can see if it's an empty day and a day has a bunch of stuff in it, I know it's that day.
What part of Canada you in, OGG?
Well, it's been
Nerdy,
fun.
take care, buddy.
I
He's got to
gotta
go.
bounce.
He's got to go pour over his beloved Palladium books, looking for the next
Easy.
secret of Palladium.
Like there's a party going on, and he's just leaned up in the corner, being like,
Fucking flipping through that Rift's conversion book like a madman. Yeah.
No, exactly.
If there's a party going on, you want to find me, just
Oh,
look for
Here's
the puppy.
yeah, I heard
like, these people don't even know I'm all about palladium.
See, you know, you
Tough, but can you take mega damage? Are you mega damage tough, sir?
Yeah, Palladium. Do they have mega damage in the fantasy version, or is that just
No,
the Rift?
thank God. Well, they didn't. Maybe they have it now. I don't know.
What's funny too is if you play a basic coalition trooper, your rifle, all of your weapons don't do mega damage, but your vibro knife does.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess if you got attacked by an enemy tank or something, you might as well put your rifle up and just pull the vibro knife out and go at it.
I guess I should probably apologize now because I'm having a bourbon creamer and my whiskey. But if I get a little loopy, I apologize. That's one of the contributing factors.
Well, I mean, you can go back to the Legion of Myth days where you're constantly falling asleep on the stream.
You know, I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me because I get less sleep now than I did back then. I don't have that problem.
Would you like a little sugar in your coffee? A little.
Put some whiskey in your coffee, sugar in your tea.
What's all these questions they're asking?
You're asking me. That cigarette you're smoking, it scared me half to death.
What movie is this from? I got to see it.
It's a
No,
song.
it's a song,
Open
man.
up the window, sucker. Let me catch my breath.
My bread. Mama told me not to come.
It's Three Dog Night, and they're very special to me because on the very night I was born, or day I was born, Three Dog Night. Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog was the number one hit on American radio. Because you can just type in and it'll tell you like on any day.
About that song, I used to tease one of my friends because his name was Jeremiah over that song.
That is
Well, I
really
mean,
strange. I don't
that
wanna
song
tell you
is
my
brilliant because it's just like the lead singer's got such a powerful bluesy voice, and he just comes out of nowhere with Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog.
Yes.
Well, okay, I have two choices. I can go with the number one song in America, or I can go with the number one song in the UK. Guess which one I'm going to go with?
UK.
It's way better. Number one song for America on the day I was born was The Love You Saved by the Jackson 5. I've never even fucking heard this song.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even heard that.
Number one in the UK, Mungo Jerry. In the summertime, that fucking song's awesome.
Right?
I don't know what song was ever made. I don't know if there was a really. What was the top song when I was born?
Oh, and
Go
also
on-
in Canada,
If
was
you're on
number
the
one.
internet, type in number one song and
Yeah.
the day you were born. It will tell you.
The day and
Glory
year you
to
were
the
born.
world, yeah. But what I'm saying is, oh, I gotta be quiet. My wife's in there.
Oh wow!
What I'm saying though is the whole they're on stage, and all of a sudden this guy just yells, "Jeremiah was a bullfrog!" Right then he's got you.
So
Because
this
you're
will
like-
make you feel young.
This guy's hanging out with a bullfrog and drinking wine. What's going on?
He's a Bullywug fan.
Okay, All for Love by Color Me Bad.
Oof.
You're
Oof.
such a baby.
Oof.
Oh,
So in the summertime was number one in Canada on that day as well. So that's my official number one for that. For my
and
birthday.
then when Hungar was born, it was "You're So Vain" by Carly Simon.
But I was like prophetic.
Mm-hmm. They say that she wrote that song about Hugh Hefner.
It was Warren Beatty, then it was Hugh Hefner. She finally told a guy who paid her, and he swore to take it to his grave.
Yeah.
10 years ago or something. So we'll never know. We'll never fucking know.
So
Yeah.
on
Good
my
song, though.
on my birthday, it was "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" by Elton John.
Wow.
I didn't
Not even
know
the
Elton
Beatles.
John did "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." I thought that
Yeah.
was the Beatles.
He covered it
Yeah.
in the 70s.
Yeah, they covered it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I never heard that. Jeremiah as a bullywug. Yeah.
Jeremiah was a bullywug.
If
Yeah.
I would have been born a week
Yeah.
later, it would have been Mandy. Or 2 weeks later, it would have been Mandy by Barry Manilow.
Wow.
Oh, Mandy, you came and you gave without taking.
Oh, Margie, you came and you found me a turkey on my vacation away from worky.
So
Oh,
the number one artist for 75 was Elton John. He spent 7 weeks at number one. In
Crafting Gamer's birthday song is "All the Man That I Need."
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know what to say about that. That's an interesting choice. But it is a reality that in the mid to 60s to mid 70s, Three Dog Night, they just put out a ton of bangers though. Like they were just a great band for that period. I mean, they're not up there in my opinion with Steely Dan, but they're pretty freaking awesome. Now, for me, that period, that 60s to 70s era, for me, it's Steely Dan. Like every time. Maybe Led Zeppelin. You know, is it Led Zeppelin? Yeah, that's a standard, you know. It's like who doesn't love Led Zeppelin? Well, Danzig, but besides him, that's the whole reason Danzig formed Misfits, is because he hated Led Zeppelin so much. Also, the reason that the Ramones did their thing was because they were sick and tired of songs that were 8 minutes long. So part of the Ramones' whole deal when they got together is they would never write a song more than 2 minutes long. Boss Skaggs. Yeah. Yeah. See, Shadow's probably the only one of us who can't go on the internet and look up the song because, I mean, I don't know if they had like a billboard when he was born or were keeping track of music or anything like that, or if music even existed. Or maybe Shadow created the first song shortly after he was born.
He created the first song and then made the billboards for it.
Where would that be, Shadow? In Mesopotamia somewhere?
No, Mount Shasta still.
Mount Shasta. Oh, man. I don't know what is going on at Mount Shasta, but a lot of people are pretty obsessed with it.
Don't get involved with Mount Shasta. Let that suicide cult finish itself.
It's like there's some people that say there's like a CIA base there or aliens.
Oh, Shadow and Son already said his song. Light My Fire by The Doors.
Speaking of California CIA manipulative music and conspiracy theories, The Doors.
The Doors.
The Doors.
Of course. Was it Ray Manzig? Is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like fucking guy made a Casio Bontempi organ like the thing.
Yeah. They met.
See, I like hanging out with Shadow because when you hang out with Shadow, nobody questions you. Do you understand? No one's looking at you trying to figure out how old you are, if you were there when the old lore was written, because Shadow's there. And they're all going to focus on Shadow.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a tendency of grabbing the spotlight, doesn't he?
Ray Manzarek. There we go. Whatever. The guy turned a fucking your mother's living room organ into a fucking rock and roll device.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was in 90. Me and my buddy drove from Fort Stewart to Savannah, Georgia, because he was a huge Doors fan and the movie had came out.
Oh, yeah.
So we drove that hour trip each way so that we could watch the movie in a decent theater. And plus they weren't playing the movie because we had an on-post movie theater, but it was always like 6 months behind whatever. Hey, how you doing, Satya?
Was OGG, is it, let's see, let me see if I can guess. Battle of Evermore or, shit. What's the one with the Gollum?
That's weird.
Song.
I can remember going to the drive-ins, but I cannot remember really any of the movies I watched there.
Ramble on, Bear.
Ramble on, thank you. Ramble on. Exactly. In the darkest depths of Mordor.
Yeah.
I met a girl. Yeah, exactly, man.
I met a girl so fair. But Gollum, an evil one, snuck up and crept away with her.
Away with her.
It's like, that's kidnapping. But then again, that's also Sauron. So I guess you get what you get, right? But,
Shadow's a young lad. What? I don't know that song by Zeppelin. Wink.
Shadow's a young, yeah. But, I mean, yeah. It is kind of basic bitch Gen X stuff to be like Led Zeppelin, though, because I mean,
Hey, you don't have a choice, man. Every fucking high school dance ended with "Stairway to Heaven."
oh yeah.
That
You know
is
what
true.
my favorite song was that brings me back? Like OGG was saying, for me, it's the Rain song. I remember going fishing on the coast and watching the rain come in and just sitting in the car listening to the Rain song while the rain was going by. And it's just, and it's instrumental even. Dun, dun. But yeah. And then of course the Beastie Boys came out, and if you were a Zeppelin fan, you noticed that all of their drum lines were from Zeppelin songs. It's like License to Ill, every beat was a Zeppelin beat. And they're just rapping over it,
I'm gonna have to go though. I'll see you.
I will
Oh,
see
care of
you.
yourself.
You have a wonderful day.
Good seeing you, Les.
I am gluing some
Ramble on.
onto some bases. Some of them might even be hybrid deep ones.
So I got my tax refund back,
Nice.
and I followed through with my threat that I was going to buy everything Bone 6 off Reaper's website.
Yeah. You did say something like that.
Should be shipped in tomorrow.
Except, see, I did something interesting. In addition to the Deep One hybrids and various other idiots, I happen to have an STL of Maniac with Axe, and I printed a bunch of those to add to the mob. If you look really close, though, Bear, you might recognize this Maniac with an Axe. And if you need a hint, my dear sir, it is From the Mouth of Madness.
Do you know Mr. Kane?
Yeah, that's the main guy at the end when he walks up to the guy and the guy's like, "Do you read Sir Kane?" And he just cracks him in the head with an axe. They're like, "I'm sorry about the nuts. It was just a lucky shot. That's all." My parents' wedding song was Stairway to Heaven. Oh my God.
Yeah, I like Zeppelin a lot, but I hate that fucking song. And then I found out in the 70s in New York State, they had done a concert one time where they did a 2.5-hour live version of Stairway to Heaven, apparently. And all I could think to myself was there had to be someone there who was like the 70s version of me, who loved Led Zeppelin, was so fucking excited that he was going to go see Led Zeppelin live, but he hated Stairway to Heaven and said, it'll be the one song I'll have to listen to, but the rest will be awesome. And then they did a 2.5-hour live version of Stairway to Heaven, and that guy just fucking hated Led Zeppelin for the rest of his life. I just imagine that guy has to exist.
I wonder, Bear, if it was at that exact moment that the Ramones were like, nah.
Fuck this.
Yeah, we're going to the heebie-jeebie or whatever.
CBGBs. One of my favorite stories about the Ramones is I was reading the book about CBGBs, and the owner, or the guy who was the owner at the time, said, yeah, he goes, the Ramones came in. I was pretty sure they were here to rob the place, but they said they were the band. Then they hopped up on stage, blew the place away, and left. I still think they came in to rob me, though.
Well, I mean, the lead singer, first off, most of them were giant.
Joey. Or what?
Those guys were tall. Joey Ramone was like 6.5 feet tall and also medicated for schizophrenia. So
24 hours to go.
Poor guy, right?
They did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I like I Want to Live. I think that's one of my favorites.
I like Sheena.
Sheena's a punk rocker. Yeah. She don't want to go to the disco no more.
No more. Exactly.
Yeah. Sheena is a
A
punk
punk
rocker.
rocker. Sheena is.
Punk rocker. Yeah.
And Blitzkrieg Bop. You can't go wrong with Blitzkrieg Bop.
But again, we're talking about a band that literally took music and completely changed it.
Oh, they made the hell out of a 4-chord progression, right? Like, Jesus Christ.
Well,
playing Ramones songs is not hard.
I don't think anyone's ever going to accuse the Ramones of being like great
musical geniuses,
musicians, or anything.
No,
but I mean, every song starts with 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, like, because you got Rock and Roll High School, Blitzkrieg,
rock and roll high school.
Yeah. Now, as I loaded my weapon, a fine German steel, I never knew I'd feel. Whatever, having my last meal, but I know I can do it. It's like, what are you talking about, Joey? Calm down. And then the chorus, I want to live. I want to live my life. Yeah, those guys, or the KKK took my baby away.
KKK took my baby away. Exactly.
Far away.
But think about this. You can sit down, you can listen to them, you can throw on some Dead Kennedys.
What
else? Vacation in Cambodia is a great album, dude.
Pepper. I don't mind the sun sometimes, the images it shows. Yeah, they were pretty neat.
They were all in love with dying. They were doing it in batches. Yeah, like exactly, man. That fucking thing's amazing.
And then, of course, Jane's Addiction was
dude. Been Caught Stealing is one of the best fucking tunes ever.
I love the bass line and Get Caught Stealing.
Yeah. Been Caught Stealing.
Damn it. Now that's in my fucking head.
All right, hang on. What else we got that we can throw onto this mix? We've got the Ramones, we got Dead Kennedys, we got
Joe.
Jane's Addiction.
In 90, I was totally addicted to Faith No More.
But Faith No More is too musical for this mix. We
Like,
can throw on
and I was
Primus in here for sure.
Oh, well, Mud,
Oh,
especially. My name is Mud.
I like Winona's Big Brown Beaver.
Oh, who doesn't? Like,
come on, man.
You know,
Just to take our night home, we'll throw Filter in just for shits and giggles.
They're all dressed up like plastic cowboys,
Yeah.
running around in the one video. Yeah. Are you going to Claricon this year? I plan on it.
I'm trying, but dude, I just got my tax bill. I can't fucking afford anything this year. Like I'm getting spanked on my taxes. I spent half the year being on part-time layoff, and the government benefits they give you are taxed, but they didn't take off enough taxes from my government benefits because I also was working my other job part-time, which had already, so everyone in Canada gets a $15,000 deductible right out of the gate, right?
Right.
The problem is when they started my benefits, they applied the $15,000 deductible as well on my earnings, just like my work did. So they didn't tax me at a high enough rate on my fucking benefits.
Right.
So now I owe like a few $1,000s to the fucking Quebec government. Cocksuckers.
You see, here in America, you work your whole life and they take money away from you and they say it's in case you get hurt or something. And then if you do get hurt and they have to give you some of that money, they tax it, even though they already taxed it. It's like if you ever get on disability for, whatever, you realize that every dollar you get has been taxed like 4 times.
Oh yeah, Pepper is the butthole surfers. That's right.
Oh yeah. Did I say it wrong?
You thought it was when we were talking about Dead Kennedys.
Oh yeah. Oh. KMF DM.
KMFDM. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
KMFDM. kill motherfucking Depeche Mode.
Which makes me sad because I love Depeche Mode. Violator.
They deny it. They say that's not at all what the name means. They say that's just things people decided for them, but that's not what they meant. But who knows?
But they just let people go with it. What is it? I said.
What is it? What is it? I remember when that song came out, we were singing, "This is shit. This is shit. It's shit. This is shit."
I don't know why, but I love the guitar solo on that one so much. But the guitar solo is so basic.
Yeah. Yep. That was a big one in 90. And then of course,
what a time to be alive.
Well, when I shipped overseas at the end of 90, I had borrowed a copy of this cassette from a friend of mine, and it was Bleach by Nirvana. So, one of the things that they did is they would set up wherever we went. They would have this little, basically it was just a trailer truck, but you could go and spend money to buy batteries and Pringles. And it was supposed to keep morale up. So everyone over there had a cassette, like a Walkman. And man, I played the shit out of Bleach. So Polly wants a cracker. I think I should get off her first. And all that shit. But I had no idea who Nirvana was or how big they were going to be because when we got back from Iraq, it was 91. And it was, I think 91 is when Nevermind hit. And everybody just lost their fucking brains. They're just like.
Oh, okay. Look, can I bring some context to this, DM James?
Have you heard Teen Spirit?
Yeah, but the thing is, Teen Spirit came out in the middle of the plague, which LA had fed us the worst hair metal bands. They exported the shittiest music out of LA's hair metal scene.
Yeah.
Such as I need citations and names, sir.
Okay, I'll go with the two worst, Guns N' Roses and LA Guns.
Okay, no, you win. Guns N' Roses sucks cunt, and I don't know why people like that fucking band so much.
I think it's all because of between Duff and Slash. I think that is the reason why they got so fucking popular. They had a good bassist, and Duff is not a good singer. He's a good bassist. And then you have the enigmatic Slash, who he was just a force.
Not that wearing heroin junkie.
Yeah. Slash.
And
in Belgium, he sneaks in at night and leaves presents for good kids.
Yeah, he's not exactly a sober individual to look up to. But
Cinderella was good. Rat was amazing.
Yeah. Rat was good. I mean,
come on, keep talking shit about the greatest era of rock and roll in history.
No, are you going to tell me that Motley Crue is musically inclined?
I don't give a fuck if they're musically inclined. They were entertaining to listen to.
Yeah, they had some good songs, and even if you didn't like them, for some reason, chicks back then really did.
Women loved Motley Crue. I don't know why.
Like Cinderella, and what was the other one? Poison.
Fucking.
Every rose has its thorn.
So I was a bouncer in strip clubs. There are certain bands I can never listen to again, and sadly, one of them is Def Leppard.
Which one?
Any at this point, anything off of the fucking Hysteria album, because every one of those songs, some fucking chick would peel to it 3 times a night when I was there. You know what I mean?
I love how you said peel to it. That's great.
That is great.
I mean,
they're peelers.
You had.
I mean, if we're talking about great.
Well, first of all, Aldo Nova is Canadian, and he's not part of the LA glam scene. Second of all, he's early 80s, late 70s, so I don't think you can put Aldo Nova in there, man. Life is just a fantasy. Come on.
I gotta say that I fucking hated the hair metal shit. Although Poison was good, I liked listening to Rat before and after the hair metal was over. Quiet Riot, I don't know how they got mixed up in that. They were on fucking MTV excessively back then, and they
blew it wide open, man.
Yeah. But I hated the glam metal scene for its appearance. I don't need dudes in fucking makeup. Bret Michaels, take a washcloth to your face, you faggot. You know, that's all I can think of.
Wow. Don't hold back, Bruce. Spray, baby, spray.
I just could not stand the fucking image of it.
I know it's really
every
hard when your
ballad-
dick.
every
I understand,
ballad from
Bruce.
that
When your dick
period.
gets hard and you figure out it's a guy, it's
No.
it's a difficult,
No.
scarring experience. I understand.
No. It's the fact that every ballad has the same bass line. Do do do.
Well,
Even
their
fucking
ballads
Every Rose Has its Thorn, Damn Yankees High Enough. Cinderella was sadly made famous off all their ballads, even though their rocking songs rocked. Fucking who was the three-piece band? The Sister Christian. Who was that?
Night Ranger.
Oh my
They're not
God.
Okay, Night Ranger was
Night
fucking
Ranger.
amazing, but they only played Sister Christian on, and that was the only thing.
Don't
they
tell me you
known
love
for.
me. Come on, man. They had lots of songs.
They had lots of great songs, but that's all they're known for is Sister
Yeah, okay,
Christian.
but dude, you can't judge a music scene by what MTV played.
What about
Actually-
Kiss?
Actually,
Yeah, what
I-
about Kiss, Bruce? What do you think about Kiss?
I think they're overrated as fuck.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
I
100%.
mean, they have like 6 songs I can listen to out of like 20 CDs.
Who
I
came
like
first,
Detroit Rock
Kiss
City.
or Alice Cooper? I think Alice Cooper.
Cooper came way
And I
before
listen to
Kiss.
Cooper every day.
Yeah.
Even Cooper's fucking "I Am a Sellout" in Mainstream from 1989, "Feed My Frankenstein." That
Yeah,
that
but his song "Poison" was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the guy was like 75, but I mean, that's
the
still
only
good
person
stuff.
that's famous that's older than Alice Cooper right now is John Carpenter, who's looked the same for the past 60 years.
Yeah. And no more Mr. Nice Guy.
He's
I want to like Kiss, but I start listening to them and I'm like, skip.
There's one song Kiss does that I like, and I pretty much dislike every other song they do.
Which is?
Strutter.
Yeah, it's a good song. I like Lick It Up when they took their makeup off and they did that in the middle of the 80s. Lick It Up, I like that.
That was good.
People lost their freaking mind.
People hated them for doing that.
Man, they were so pissed. Because I have a couple of buddies that were like super Kiss fans, and like they were like offended as hell about that. And I was just like, who cares? They suck. But I mean, I was listening to Depeche Mode, Violator, The Cure. Freaking, I mean, we all know Disintegration is the greatest album ever.
No, it's not. That would be Hangar 18 by Megadeth.
No. According to South Park, it's Disintegration.
Yep, The Cure's Disintegration.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because when Barbara Streisand came to South Park and turned into Mecha Streisand and started wrecking shit, Robert Smith had to show up, and he turned into like some Japanese kaiju fighting superhero, and he defeated Mecha Streisand. And then as Robert Smith is walking away, Stan just runs out and he's just like, Disintegration is the greatest album ever. You know, what's his name was in it as kind of Mothra. Mr. Tibbs, the original Mr. Tibbs.
Sidney Poitier.
Poitier was in it trying to stop Mecha Streisand, but couldn't.
I will never understand the Megadeth thing. I never got into them. They were just too loud for me.
Well, Megadeth is what happens when you're a problem and Metallica kicks you out.
Yeah. It's really weird because Megadeth had like an album. There was like 2 or 3 albums they had out of like the 15 they released that whenever I start listening to them, I don't find myself skipping songs.
All right.
And I actually find myself repeating the album over again for me.
Well, they did put out one of the greatest like metal songs of all time.
In your opinion, which one is that?
Peace Sells.
Peace Sells is good.
Sells, but who's buying?
Yeah, it starts with that bass line, that doom, 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 you know, and then I mean, Dave Mustaine could play. He was an amazing musician. He just was also chronically an alcoholic and
I'd rather party with alcoholics than anybody else. I'm just
and
gonna
and,
get it out there
that
right now.
caused an issue for Ulrich and the other one. The two guys who actually ran Metallica, because like
Lars.
it was Lars Ulrich and
James Hetfield.
Hetfield, yes, the lead singer and the drummer, because the other guitarist and the basses, you never heard from them. They're just kind of
He's quiet
and out there, just kind of being like, "Hey, we're famous and making a lot of music
And money. Let's just
and
shut
money,
the fuck up and make money.
Let's just shut up, and those two can do whatever they want, and we'll just cash checks."
Fucking Kirk Hammett is like the iconic Joe Satriani student, because like Satriani, for some odd reason, he gets a hold of these musicians and he plays them for a little bit, and these guys stop doing like press tour kits and like stupid Taylor Swifty style interviews, and they just fucking play. And they really don't try to become known for anything else. They just try to become known for whatever they can add to the music, and that's it. And Kirk Hammett's like the best example of that. But all the other guys on Joe Satriani's resume that he's actually spent time with are almost the exact same way. I think it's something that Sach says to him while he's giving him instructions on how to do various guitar techniques. He's like, listen, you don't need to fucking go out there and be a big mouth. Now you can play like a person that's never played, never heard before. You're going to do amazing shit. Just let your guitar speak for you. And I think that's fucking something he drills into their heads, because every one of the guys that goes out there, except for maybe Steve Vai, who's got a very outlandish technique, that's like the only person that Sach has ever educated with or been with. And he's kind of PR centric.
Well, Sach just says Dave Mustaine has become deeply Christian now. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Because otherwise he's probably going to die. So I'm happy,
Boys, as much fun as it is being a bunch of old men waving our fists at clouds, I gotta go. Still a work day for me, so nice hanging out.
All right, you go work.
Glad we got to throw some shade at an idiot from Twitch. That was fun.
Well, I feel bad for him.
I don't.
I know.
That's the thing you gotta know about us up here. You piss us off, we don't feel bad for you anymore because you're an idiot and you need to get a fucking slap in the mouth. And that's just the way it is. And maybe if there were a few more fucking slaps in the mouth, people might get their fucking brains in order, right?
Yeah, search yourself out, you hoser.
Search yourself right the fuck out real fucking quick.
Yeah. Go ahead and marinate on that for a minute, eh? Later,
bear.
Yeah. I'll bet anything that kid is a kid. He's probably, he just don't know anything. And it's like, whatever. It's like, there's so many people that it's like, and I guess I'm one of them too. It's like people want to be part of something. And unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people will be part of a thing even though they don't even understand like the thing that they're part of. They don't, it's like they want to make somebody a bad guy because then they can justify being assholes instead of just being cool. You know what I mean?
I just had an argument on Twitter exactly that and encapsulates what you just stated there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't invent it. Someone way smarter and whatever came up with it. But they're like, the whole idea of the virtue signal is basically if you can call the other guy really horrible names and pretend like you're the virtuous one, then all of a sudden you can mistreat that other person any way you want because you basically removed their humanity. And that's basically the game. It's like they're bullies, but they don't want to be bullies, or they want to be bullies, but they don't want to be called out for being bullies, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So they dehumanize their enemies, and then it's okay to throw Molotov cocktails at a bunch of cars that literally, while made by the company that the guy they hate for some reason made, are not owned by him. It's like these people just don't think, like if they see like a 5-year-old Tesla in a parking lot and they decide to like attack it. My Twitch channel is DM James at Cage Super Fan, I believe. Or Rylanor at Cage Super Fan. I know it's Cage Super Fan. Yeah, it's like, so you vandalize somebody's car, and it's like they bought that car 5 years ago. Like when they bought that car, you liked him because he was on your side. But now you're going to vandalize it. And then the other thing, and this is what really pisses me off, and I've said this before, it's like the chemicals released by those batteries burning, and then firefighters have to show up and deal with that. So you're not just burning cars up, you're basically poisoning firefighters who literally should be out helping somebody, do just about anything else but put out burning electric cars. And you have to use a special kind of additive to the water to create a foam blanket, which you probably know about from your Navy days, but
yeah,
because water won't put that shit out. You got
there's some Delta class fires that are just absolute pains in the dick to fucking extinguish.
And then all the firefighters going out and dealing with that shit today, 5 to 10 years from now, they'll be
gonna have fucking
brain cancers and shit. And because of all of the heavy metals and everything they were exposed to. And these idiots aren't going to care, And that is an issue with me, because it's like, do I know a lot of these guys in Colorado or wherever these things are happening? No, but they're still my fraternal brothers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We were in the same union, IAFF, and it's like, it's just people don't think, I think is what I'm saying, Bruce. They don't look at the long game.
That's too hard to do, is look at the long game. They don't want to have to, deal with medical issues 10 years from now, 5 years from now. How many people that were there at Ground Zero on 9/11 are having a healthy, happy lifestyle right now?
Right.
A lot of firefighters that went in that day, they charged towards the fucking emergency. Now they're having to have a what do you call it? A nocula, the little fucking hose hooked up to your nostrils, shoving oxygen in because your body's ability to process it's pretty compromised.
Right, because of all the asbestos and other garbage they had to deal with. GD Bear, I'm in Colorado. The Dems have lost their minds here. Sorry that's happened. My niece, when she was a stewardess, her main flight on the plane she always worked on was Orlando to Denver. And they had an apartment there that the stewardesses, if they were, they could sleep in the apartment between flights or whatever. And all the pictures she sent back were amazing. You know what I mean? It's like Colorado looks like such a beautiful state.
Didn't you ever drive through it? Or no?
No, Hungar was the over-the-road trucker, man, not me.
For some odd reason, I always think that you're possibly a OTR guy, but that's your brother. I apologize.
Yep. He ran the Triangle, which was Florida to Texas to New York to Florida. So, yeah. It's so funny, too, hearing him talk shit about Swift drivers.
Swifty Swift.
Yeah. Like anytime you see a truck in a ditch, 9 times out of 10, it's a freaking Swift truck.
Usually it is.
Apparently, they just throw anybody behind the hill. Have good days, fellas. May your dice roll 20, except on proficiency checks. That's right. At which point you want ones. But which is good. You know, I was thinking about the side effect. You know how people will argue in game design that they want all the rolls to be like one way? You know, like you always have to roll a big number. And they don't like how sometimes you might want to roll a little number. But if you think about it, the best way to prevent a player from having cheaty dice, you know, is to have a system where sometimes you want a 20, but sometimes you want a 1. Because if they've got a cheaty die that always rolls high, they're going to mess up every proficiency check.
I've kind of learned that I've got a player that I really can't trust to do anything but succeed on his dice. So I've stopped having him roll saving throws. And like I started reading the rules on some things, like the way they worded chain lightning is you point your finger at somebody and a bolt shoots out at your finger at a target, and everybody around him within a 30-foot radius that you designate, so one extra person per level, they get hit by a secondary bolt. He takes a reflex save, and then the others around him that you designate get a +2 on their reflex saves to not suffer all the damage from the chain lightning. But with the way it's worded, there should be no save for him because you're shooting it at him. He doesn't get to save versus you firing at it. You're doing a touch attack. And so I changed the rules for chain lightning. You have to make a touch attack on your target. Everything around him, 1 per level, gets affected by secondary bolts. And so I started doing that to him. And then I just stopped using anything with saves on, and it's Connell. God bless Connell, but like I can't trust him to have an accurate saving throw because he'll like at 30.
Connell in like a year.
What?
I'm seeing him in like a year.
He's doing okay. He started working as a cook for a company, and it's not really working out well for him because he's had to move. He's had to move in with his ex. So they do get to co-parent within the same household together, but it's not peaceful is the correct word on this.
Yeah.
It can't be great for him, you know, mentally and emotionally, you know, going to where your wife lives and her new existence with her new spouse, and your daughter can see you anytime she wants to. She just has to go downstairs to the basement and see you. And it's like, fuck.
Man.
But he's doing okay. You know, he's living. He's not making a ceiling pizza. You know, I mean, he says he's not.
Yeah.
Like he probably could use the love of a good woman, but you know, who couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if those exist in Illinois.
They really don't. My best friend in Illinois had a girlfriend that absolutely couldn't tolerate the fact that he voted for Trump, and they broke up because of politics. And I'm like, you should have used that to your advantage. He's like, what? I said, you should have just, whenever she started talking silly shit, you should say something like, honey, you sound like you're fully vaccinated, or, you know, just something fucking cruel like that, and then just fuel it for the fucking bedroom. And he kind of failed in that aspect. Like, man, it was a lot of bullshit. I said, you weren't married to it. It's a girlfriend. Shark! Hey, Shark, how you doing?
Hey, Shark.
So,
you know, you ever notice that, because I observe things, that every time someone breaks up over politics, it's always the liberal woman doing the breaking up.
Yeah.
Like, you never hear about some conservative man being like, Yep, had dumped my girlfriend. I heard she voted for Barack.
I thought I'd hear that, but I never did.
No, because it's like, I don't know, because we don't care.
We don't. We didn't. You get educated as a young man that your friends are more important to keep as friends than base your entire existence off politics. Wasn't that a Thomas Jefferson thing?
Yeah, about
Yeah.
arguing but leaving as gentlemen or something.
Yeah.
But no, my experience when I was young, Sharky Shark is like, I was talking to my wife about this. Like when I was up till recently, honestly, I had no idea what political leanings of anyone I hung out with or even dated were. Because it was like no one ever talked about it. So, you know, like all the guys I grew up with, all the guys I was in the army with, like, you know, and you would think being in a dismount team with 5 other guys, you would know that, but no. I mean, I knew all kinds of other shit. No shadow, it's no surprise. But yeah, it was like, and I knew like some deeply personal stuff about some of these guys, you know, stuff I didn't want to know, but never knew how they voted. No one even asked. It wasn't even something you talked about. Like, you know what happened? 2016 happened.
I would love to go back in time and just relive all that shit again. And then like I'd probably be an idiot. And by 2019, oh my God, we have to stop the global idiots from screwing over the nation, you know. Don't let them have event 205.
Right? It's like I don't know why, but you know, the Teflon Don somehow magically won the election in 2016. Hillary didn't get it. And then the government spent the whole time he was there trying to get him for, you know, Russian collusion and various other things that they know for a fact were made up and lies. And it's like the whole liberal left just lost their freaking minds, you know? And it's like, you know, like in the Clinton era, people don't even remember Bill Clinton, for all of his shadiness and stuff.
Still a centrist.
He was very centrist. He was opposed to gay marriage. He was opposed to gay people. I mean, like by today's standards, he would be like alt-right. You know, it's like, yeah, that's a fact, Andre. You're not wrong. It is a weird thing. The right hand of Genghis Khan.
I sit at the right hand of Genghis Khan. Does that make my political stance clear for you? God,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean,
that's fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you know, who doesn't love the Genghis Khan? I mean, sure, he might have killed, you know, a quarter of the Earth's population, and he impregnated enough Asians that 1 in 10 of them have his DNA, but
1 in 4.
1 in 4.
I think it's 1 in 4.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, none of that sounds bad to me. It's like, you want to talk about a guy with accomplishments. I mean, he started out as like a poor farmer in a meat or a poor whatever in a weak clan. And then after some, you know, internal clan war stuff, the next thing you know, he's running the largest land empire the earth had ever seen, and just whipping everybody's ass for like centuries there. Yeah, they in Karakum, I think it's Karakum, Mongolia. They have a gigantic polished bronze statue of Genghis Khan that like it dominates the skyline. You know what I mean? Because your average Mongolian has not a damn bit of shame about anything the Mongols did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're proud of it. You know, you talk to the Mongols and they're like, yeah, you know, when Genghis Khan was around, we whipped everybody's ass and took all their shit and did whatever we wanted, and we ruled the world. And they're literally super proud of it, and I love it. You know, I respect that vibe, you know. Because, you know, I've said this multiple times. You've probably heard me say it too. The whole people should never feel bad because they won. You know, I mean, does it suck sometimes to be on the losing side? Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you or anyone else should be made to feel a way negative about yourself or whatever because, you know, your ancestors whipped somebody else's ancestors in a war. That's just stupid. You know, it's been happening in America for too long. These idiots with their colonialism bullshit.
I love colonialism. Can I just say that I love the idea of running B1 and B2, of being sent out from like a capital city. Yeah, your mom and dad were lower middle class, or like you might even be landed gentry, but you and a group of 6 people and maybe some hangers on, maybe 10 hirelings. You 16 are sent out to location, and you're supposed to kind of do some work and scout out some things, and then you get sent to with your findings to this keep on the borderlands, and it's up to you to be successful and do the right thing at this spot so your country, your family will be directly reflected in the effects on this. I love a colonial game. I think that's fucking awesome.
Well, I wonder if, because you know how Wizard Coast just bought, you know, drank the Kool-Aid down. I wonder if that's why they don't ever add domain play to their game anymore. Because I mean, in domain play, you like you said, you and your friends group, whatever, the army you hired, you're going into the wilderness and plotting out some land and taking care of any monsters that live there or whatever. And one day, if you do make good decisions, you may have a castle and a thriving village, you know, and be involved in trade and, you know, local power plays in the kingdom, etc. You know, so that used to be a huge part of old school D&D. I mean, you know, like in OSC Advanced, if you have a character playing a knight, when that character hits level 4, they can claim a domain because they're already considered to be nobility. So they don't even gotta wait till level 9. You know what I mean? So because they did the Unearthed Arcana thing, and they instead of calling it a cavalier, though, they just call it a knight. But it's basically if you want to play a paladin but not be super beholden to a religion. You could just play a knight. You're basically the same thing, but not. Right, right.
I think I'm about finished with this piece here.
You've been working on that. What's that the base of?
I don't know if it's actually a base, but it's something that Reaper had on their website. So I'm like, ooh, I'll take that. And it just is like a hatchling among 2 other dragon eggs. And I thought that'd be something that would be a lot of fun to have happen at the game table. Nerdy Ogre. Nerdy Ogre would be like, there are no there are no dragons. There's only experience points.
Right. It's like, I don't know if this is true for you, but for me, sometimes I will see a miniature, and just seeing a miniature will inspire me to write a whole freaking in-depth encounter for whatever game I'm playing, just because of a miniature. Like, very recently I got STLs for slave women, which are women in rags all chained up like in a column, and there's a slave master, and I already know at some point my players are going to encounter this group, right? And I've already built the whole encounter. Like, the slave master is this human assassin, and he's got orcs working for him, and evil humans, and I think they'll be transporting their captives to the Empire of Auz in North Central Greyhawk. I mean, right now the players are traveling through the Kingdom of Bissell, which is currently kind of involved in a 3-way Royal Rumble with Perrinland and Ket. And then on the other side of Ket, I believe, or is it Perrinland, is the Empire of Auz, the Immortal. Because he's a Cambion, His mom was Igwelv the Witch, a.k.a. Tasha. And his dad was Gratzt, the demon prince of whichever level of the abyss. And yeah, like the archmage Zigag or whatever, one of Gary Gygax's characters locked him underneath the city of Greyhawk, but unfortunately later on some adventurers accidentally let him out. So yeah. So yeah, it's just basically the half-naked slave woman STL with, in chains, and the slave master. And I just started putting together situations for this encounter to happen. And I think when the players, plus it's going to be a complicated encounter, Bruce, because after, let's say they defeat the slavers, right? Then what do they do with the surviving women? You know what I mean?
Did you ever play in the Pathfinder adventure path called Kingmaker?
No.
Are you familiar with it?
Nope. Played Pathfinder for about, I don't know, 2 months.
It's a neat adventure path, and it starts off with your family sending you and an adventuring party out to a place, and you're supposed to pacify it. You're supposed to find the big problem there and pacify. You're supposed to go hex to hex to hex and annex them into your properties and your holdings, and you're supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a neat, really neat adventure path. Pathfinder, Paizo will never do anything like that again with the original themes it had, because there was certain things in the theming of it that go completely against what they do at Paizo metaphorically now.
Right.
And so it was a what do they call that? No, I bought the no, not your Echo. I've got somewhere in my Hotmail email, I've got the key to go play it, but I never have played the Kingmaker video game. But you're supposed to go out and colonize a wilderness area. And it's a very neat adventure path because there's a bunch of different portions of it. Now, mind you, every time you go into an area, the DM is encouraged to do random encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Our DM that we had, he rolled up one week. We fought a bunch of wolves, and then after we got done with that, one of the characters, a monk, Johnny, his character was a monk, and he decided that his character was going to take the pelt from the wolf and wear it.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have he'd be warm at night, because it wasn't really the nicest, warmest location we were at.
Right.
And the next week, Pat rolled up a werewolf encounter, but he decided he would connect the two encounters together as we were going through these just two hexes, just 8 miles apart is all we were at.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're encountering the werewolves, we don't realize they're werewolves. The guy starts talking with our group, and he looks at the monk. He's like, "That is a wonderful coat. Where did you get it?" And the monk is like, "Oh, well, I just finished fashioning it for myself. We fought off a bunch of wolves last week." And the guy was like, "Oh, interesting." And then he goes on a different topic. He's like, "You guys don't bring your women with you?" "No, we are unmarried men, and we're adventuring. Now, mind you, we will go back, and there probably will be a few ladies at the inn where we're from, but we're young men. We're probably not going to settle down for a while." And the guy looks at us and he says, "I mated for life." And really, that's awesome. Where's your wife now? And he's like, "Oh, she is freshly passed." And we're like, "Oh, we're so sorry. No big deal." And then the encounter ends. He's like, "Well, you be well." And we leave and we break for camp. And then him and his other werewolf buddies ambush us in the middle of the night, and we all died. We just got slaughtered. First round of combat, Paladin's dead. Second round of combat, my cleric, I try to channel positive energy, get everybody back, get some hit points back. I'm only rolling a d6 at a time. I'm not doing a whole lot to help this process. I get cut down in the tent. It was fun, but man, when Pat revealed everything to us, it's like, oh shit.
The monks run around wearing this guy's wife.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to answer or respond to a statement up here. True Grogs, no. Apparently, I don't know if it's new lore or old lore or whatever, but Tasha and Igwelver are the same person.
Same person. Yeah, they're supposed to be the same person according to old Greyhawk lore, right?
Yeah, like she pretended to be Tasha so she could infiltrate the Council of 12 or whatever the hell it was. But on the DL, she had summoned and imprisoned Gratz and bore children with him, and then eventually he got away and she interred herself in a tomb and the Yaddle Mountains, which is remarkably where the player characters are bound. That's why they're crossing the kingdom of Bissell from the Grand Duchy of Jif, is because they are on their way to the southern spur of the Yato Mountains, they have heard rumors of the tomb that no one has ever found, or if they found it, they never came back. But really, it's because they heard rumors. The gnomes in the party heard rumors from some other gnomes that there was a community of gnomes somewhere in the Yato Mountains, and so they decided they just wanted to go, and somehow or another they managed to convince the rest of the group to go with them. You know, so I don't know if we're going to end up with the Lost Tomb, or if we're going to end up with just them wandering around the mountains looking for the secret gnome village. And hopefully they don't encounter the 1 to 300 circle of 8. Thank you. The 1 to 300 goblins that are rampaging around, because that is on the character wandering monster chart. Like up to 300 goblins, a whole tribe. So that means you've got goblin warriors, non-combatant goblins, high-level goblins, wolves, you know. But since they're in the steep mountains, they'll probably see the goblins long before the goblins notice them, and if they're smart, they'll just let it go, because I, for one, don't want to have to end up rolling like 50 ranged attacks on anybody. I mean, you know, that'd just take too long. I mean, I will if it comes down to it, but it's not what I want to do, you know. And they don't have an army with them either, so it's not like they have like a ton of henchmen or something. They're basically just wandering around the party. I mean, there's 8 of them, but well, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 to 8, depending on. There's one player that's kind of unreliable. So, you know, the good thing is the players that actually are reliable and that move the story along, they always show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got 5 players in my game right now, and I'm completely happy I have those 5. I think I've got a 6th that's out there, but he's got bills, and he's a young man, so you know, sometimes you're a teenager and you're not really into D&D as much as everything else, because like, oh, girls, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Janet was on the channel with me the other night, and we were talking about her games. She's like in 4.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. But yeah, she joined me and Bear and whomever else it was, and we just bullshitted around for a little while.
She really likes gaming a lot. She's I don't think she's ever been engaged in much as what gaming provides her, because it, you know, gives her a chance to flex her wrinkly brain a bit, you know, and she gets to do things that even when she was doing films and movies, she wasn't really doing that much. She's just reading from a script and trying to be noticeable. That way she'd have a job again, you know. Oh, I liked you in this show. Let me bring you involved and get you involved with this. And there's certain things you can and can't do on set. So you're not able to do all those things that you want to do with these characters. Well, here in RPG land, you can do all these things. You know, I mean, if the DM's willing to give you the time to take center stage, you can do that. And that's kind of where I'm at with her, because she usually does a good job with center stage.
Yeah, I watched one of your games a week or so back. And
Was Nerdy Ogre part of the crew or no?
I believe he was, yeah.
Okay, so you watched my lower level game. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my custom system that I'm working on, and I hope that at some point I actually devote some time to writing on it because it deserves to be fleshed out and put on the websites for free download.
Well, I had it on in the background while I was doing painting.
Yeah.
And the system, whatever you're using, appeared to be working out just fine. I mean, you know, and I was listening to the players all talking about what they were doing and stuff. It sounded pretty interesting, you know.
Thank you.
So, but yeah, the OSC game, they had tons of choices of what they could do, and I kind of thought they would go one way, and they, of course, went entirely a different way, and we'll see if that was a smart move or not, you know, because when they were hunting down rumors in the city of Greyhawk, which is, of course, like basically like Rome, except it's independent. So it's a city state, is what it actually is. It's not part of an actual kingdom, but it rules over all the land within like a day's march. And they heard all kinds of rumors and talked to all kinds of people. And one of the big rumors they heard was that, you know, a major battles had been raging along the eastern frontier of the Principality of Ulick between the forces of the Ulicks and the Pomarge. And I really thought they'd go down there and try and get involved in a war, but instead they decided they would go hunting for gnomes. So we'll see. I mean, who knows? They might accidentally, because the module I'm talking about, they have oh, that's cool. You know, you have a hex map. And so it's an overland thing where you move from one hex to the next, trying to figure out, you know, what you can, right? And they have as good of a chance as finding Igweb's tomb as not. Of course, I mean, I'm not sure how they'll handle it, because I mean, it's not an easy adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. Are you walking?
Shark says, I like Reaper miniatures, but damn, they use a 25 millimeter standard, and the industry itself is shifting to 28 and 32 millimeter scale for miniatures. So now the miniatures look very stunted and out of place.
I've never noticed that.
You don't have to advance to 25th or 32. This is
like, here's a Reaper Black miniature mounted on a 25 millimeter base.
Yeah.
And he is tall as hell.
Yeah. This is a Reaper miniature from like 2 years ago. Okay. This little swordsman.
Yeah, these were 3D printed, these Reaper models I have. I didn't know, you know, because they usually do resin, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I got these and I took them out of the box and actually looked at them, I could see just barely on the bottom the print lines. So I was like, Reaper is 3D printing shit now. I got the PDF, but I wanted the physical copy as well. Yeah.
He's talking about Baramay's 10th anniversary.
Yeah, I've got that. The hard.
I think Reaper's switched up to 28 millimeter for their standard, because this is a new figure they've got, and this is called Brawl. It's got like an orc fighting off 3 halflings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's 28 millimeter. Here's the Bathalion, which it's supposed to be on a larger base than typical, but he still looks bigger than 28 millimeter. So I'm thinking that Reaper's slowly, incrementally bringing their sizes up. But I'm okay if they stayed at 25 millimeter, but kept their quality high. Because the detail on this is really impressive. I know my camera just blurred for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, mine does that too. I hate it. But yeah, you really don't run into much of an issue unless you happen to be one of those guys that owns a shit ton of old Ral Partha D&D figures.
Oh God.
And then you throw them on the table and you're like, oh my God, they're so tiny.
That's an ogre? My fighter's taller than that ogre.
But like, I bought a ton of other world miniatures, which are now produced by Badger Games, and they're pretty freaking dead on scale. I mean, they scale really well with pretty much anything, you know. So that's a really, and then of course I 3D print miniatures, which means I can scale them however the hell I want. You know, I can put it on my build plate, compare another miniature to it, and then decide if I need to adjust it by, you know, a few percentiles one way or another, you know.
Now, is Badger Miniatures, did they take over Mantic as well? Because I see Mantic is on there.
I think Badger Miniatures just sells stuff, but they bought, my understanding is they actually bought the rights and everything for Otherworld. Because Otherworld Miniatures was just two guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they've been at it for, God, forever. And I guess, you know, somebody decided, nah, I'm done. I'm going to retire. So thank goodness Badger stepped up, because it'd be a real shame for some of those miniatures to just vanish, you know, from the ether, because some of them are just so good, you know.
I think in the future I'll buy some orcs from Badger Games, because I'm looking at this, like, their prices are a little stiff. Are they metal or are they plastic?
They're metal.
Okay. Now that makes sense. Yeah. I think I might get like 2 things of the orcs with crossbows, 4 things of the archers, and then like a fuck ton of other orcs, but I'm going to spend a fuck ton of money when I do that.
Yeah, the thing is, and I don't think you'll be able to do it anymore, but it used to be the best, is that if you were a member of the Otherworld webpage and stuff, you could like basically just stalk the webpage, and every now and then they would come out with some overstock sale or something, right? And it would be literally 50% off. And sometimes it was actual good shit. Like, you know, when I bought my Goblin Wolf Riders, which I bought 10 of them, they're normally like $15 a piece. But when I bought them, they were 2 for 1. So I was all like, all right, I'll do it, even though it's expensive, since, I mean, Mantic puts, or War Games Atlantic or Mantic, one of them, they put out a box of Wolf Riders for like nothing. But I wanted these ones because, you know, and I got them, and I'm happy with them. But yeah, it's just like, it's just so wild, you know, how many miniatures I got from those guys by just stalking the webpage. Like, pretty much every other day or so, when I'd go online, I'd log in to see what their overstock was. And if it was something I wanted, I'd be like, boom, it's mine now. Like, that's how I got all of my spider people. I forget, what are they called?
Neogi?
No. I'm talking about the humanoid, but huh?
Driders?
No, they look like humanoid spiders.
Arachne?
Something like that. They can spit webs and,
okay,
you know, and according to the story, at one point they were human druids that had worshipped a spider god or something, and due to doing a lot of really evil rituals and shit, they basically kind of become spiders. Now, some people in some games, they just call them spider folk, but they do got a name that starts with an A. But yeah, they basically have just the 2 legs and 2 arms, but then they have the face of a spider, you know? So pretty crazy looking, you know? But yeah, Reaper miniatures, the ones I have, they're all tall as hell, man. Like I set them down next to any of my other figures, and they fit right in. So, like this is the new Reaper Bandit from the Reaper Black line, and I can set him on the table with any figure I own, and he fits right in. I think if I had it to do over again with these orcs I 3D printed, I would have made them about 20% smaller. Because I like orcs to be typically smaller than humans, except for the champions. But too late. I've already printed like 50 of them, so they're just a little bit on the large side for orcs. Well, not really. I mean, now that I'm looking at the Reaper miniature, they're pretty good. But yeah, when I got the STL for Hungar, I made a giant, a human, and a dwarf. All of Hungar. And then I painted the human like a human, painted the dwarf like a dwarf, and painted the giant like a fire giant. Hey, there's Janet. Hello, Janet. How are you?
Janet.
I'm getting ready to end this. Unfortunately, it's been a long time. And I got some stuff to do. I'm going to try to get all of the house cleaning done today, and then the wife and I will be going to church on Sunday. She has decided to start going to my church with me.
Janet, I'm off today.
Which is a good thing.
Originally, I was thinking I was going to go get in the truck and just go unload it for the boss and get a couple hours pay, but he kind of reasoned with me, begged me to not do that. He's like, just save it for Monday because I don't know how much work I have for you. And right now we had our shortest week last week. I didn't even crack 40 hours, but that's really not a big concern because he always seems to inflate me a few $100 and more than what I should be paid. But he's like, no, because you and I agreed to the salary, which is, what it is. And then one of his accountants is like, no, you can't pay him like that. You got to pay him an hourly rate because he's a driver. And he disagrees with it. So he's like, oh, it's bonusing me money. Well, I just secured 4 new jobs. We just got paid on a $3,000 job I sold. So he's like, no, dude, you're going to hit your target, maybe get paid more than that. But you've been adding to the roles quite a bit. So don't worry about it. Let's just save that load in the truck for next week. It's only septic. It's water, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Cool. Well, Orc Horde officially done. So I can say that I've actually finished something. But Andre's asking you a question.
Andre, I am what you would call an SST driver or a suck truck driver. I'm a licensed apprentice plumber, which means absolutely tits, nothing whatsoever. But I can work with a master plumber on a project. I can take out drain clogs, and I can drive a big, heavy tanker truck to a location and suck out the grease trap. And that's what I do from usually midnight to noon, or those are my usual operating hours. But my boss really appreciates the fact that I left a multi-million-dollar company to go work with him and drive his truck. And so that's what we do.
Cool. Well, guys, I am heading off. So peace and love and all that. Have a wonderful weekend.
Peace, love, and
And I'll
bacon.
see you. And Janet says that she's going to join herself tonight for the show.
I read that. I know what she means. I'll be there, Janet. But yeah, I know what you mean. I just the keyboard got away from you.
But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. And be good.
Have a safe weekend, James. God bless.